Hello again, we're back on our Raspberry Pi Zero with the Pi3C Modeller, and I just want to give you an update of what's been going on recently. I've been installing a file format called the glTF, otherwise known as the GL transmission format, which has been developed by Kronos, and it really has become the industry standard now for transferring the file rendering of web graphics, of games and so on. And it is an excellent format in that it's very, very compact, it's very fast to load. It supports lots of animation, skin animation, morphing and so on. Plus it looks very realistic when you actually render. Now, I haven't actually been able to get the realism yet. We're on the Raspberry Pi Zero, but I want to use the glTF as my sort of base file format, and even internally as well on the modeler. So let me just give you a few examples of what it can do. I'm going to drag across one of the examples provided by Kronos, who developed the glTF, and we'll start with this model called the Nefertiti, and it's also known as the GLB file, which is the glTF in binary form. And so I'll show you how that loads in. Nefertiti is a textured model, and as you see as it comes in, again, remember this is on the Raspberry Pi Zero. It's relatively quick, but it could be quicker to actually load in this particular model, which is quite big. But at the moment, I've still got a few internal things to change, so it actually loads a lot quicker than this. But as you can see, it's loaded in the Nefertiti model. Let's go to full view on that, and we can actually see that it's got some nice detail. Now you'll also notice on the bottom left-hand corner we have a strip of textures, and that's also including the texture we just loaded with Nefertiti. It gives the information of what's there, that this texture is 2048 by 2048, which is the limit actually for a Raspberry Pi Zero, but it can load several of these sort of textures in, and I'm really quite impressed that we're still loading quite a few of these textures and run it quite smoothly on a Raspberry Pi Zero. So, but that's just to show, first of all, we haven't loaded the other types of textures like normal bump maps or specular highlights, that sort of thing. But at the moment it's just rendering the basic diffuse matte colors, if you like. So, but anyway, it shows that we can actually load in a textured model using glTF. But one thing a little bit more exciting than that, if I just remove the Nefertiti model, let's have a look at this one. This is one of my favorite ones, and it's the horse. And you'll notice something as we drag this one in, that it's actually going to be rendering the animations as well. So we've got a horse, fully rendered horse model, and again this is running on the Pi Zero, and this actually is just rendering the keyframes. What I mean by that is that each of these each of these movements should actually also be interpolated, but they're not. They're actually just using the keyframe rendering. Now, for some reason, if I go to quarter screen, it's a lot faster, and you can see it's running in all four views. So let's just zoom out in each of these four views, and you can see it's running nice and smoothly on the Pi Zero. Let's just zoom out a little bit. It's quite a big model, this one, and let's just move that around. But it's nice. It's nice and fast. As I say, I don't know why it's running this fast on the 4 part view, but if you can see, it's actually running at quite some speed on the Raspberry Pi Zero using this expanded view. And we can keep adding other models. If I just go, let's just drag this across, and I'll move this horse across to the left a little bit, and let's try a few more as well. Now, what's nice as well is that even when it's running the animations, you can still position and edit our model in place. Well, I'll do a little thing which will allow you to pause it if you need to and edit the frames, but for now it's just running those frames. Let's load in another one, like let's try the flamingo. Load that one in, and now we have a flamingo running as well. Let's push up the flamingo a little bit, and the last one we'll try out is going to be our parrot. Let's just drag the parrot across. There we are. So we now also have the parrot animated as well alongside the horse and the flamingo. So that's a nice thing about the glTF file format. Has two types of animation. This one is is known as the morph type animation, which should morph between meshes. There's also skinning. I have not implemented skinning yet. It does implement the transforms like TRS and matrix, but at the moment we've only got this as a basic animation which we can use. So there's the glTF format, an excellent format which I'll be adopting for the Pi3C Modeller, and it's bang up to date with all the sort of latest 3D modeling type of storage, and using that for creating models as well. So anyway, I thought I'd update. There's one other format that is in there, and that's also FBX. But FBX is still very limited. We can only just load in meshes of FBX, and I'm still thinking about whether to actually fully support FBX on the Raspberry Pi Zero anyway. But this is to say, well, if you run this on the Pi 4, the Pi 400 is again considerably faster, and we can do some huge models. You've got to remember that the Pi Zero only has 512 megabytes, so we are a little bit limited in how much we can actually put in. But it's just, again, this is more of a test to see how fast it will still run on the Pi Zero. Anyway, you can also see down here, as I said, we've got the textures which we can examine, and that again will be expanded. I'm going to be adding other things to this, like how the model actually maps onto text, and we can edit those things. So all these sort of things will be planned, that this will be a fully blown editor that will run on the Raspberry Pi Zero and anything above that. So anyway, I thought I'd give you another update that this project is very much still alive, and how it's going forward. Thanks again for watching.